Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. Sorry about the delay. I had some problems with StreamYard. And I know a few here in the comments said we don't care about StreamYard, we care about your opinions. Well, with no StreamYard, no opinions. So we're here, we're live. We're joined today by the world-famous thumbnail designer extraordinaire, Conor, who's covering for Dan Potts. And, of course, it's Tuesday, so LB is here. How are you, gents?
Well, good, thank you, man. Sound.
Good. Loads to go through today, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, looking ahead of the Champions League games. Will it be collapse or conquer for Arsenal tomorrow night? Chelsea silencing some haters this last few weeks with their win over Liverpool as well. We're getting LB's take on his beloved Chelsea this week. Some transfer talk as well. Huijsen to Arsenal is a big thing that Fabrizio has spoken about. Wirtz potentially rejecting Man City to join Bayern Munich. We're going to be delving on to plus Milinkovic-Savic in goal for Man United. And no, not the midfield player. Turns out there's a keeper with exactly the same name, who, madly enough, 10 years ago was at Man United. Who knew?
Sure was.
I didn't. I didn't until I went on his Wikipedia today. So listen, viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you're all subscribing. Let us know where you're watching from as well. What? Tell is to some of you write some really weird things.
Tell it to us straight, I think.
Tell us. Yeah. Okay.
What we're telling you.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know straight?
You want to know, bro?
I was on the United stand earlier. He wrote me a very nice message where he said, "News from me is like goes down like a spoonful of sugar with a kiss on the back of the neck." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Cheers." Now I'm a very secure man, so I don't do the whole. Like when people go, "That's sus." I always think, "Nah, you are, brother, saying you're sus." That's how it was when I grew up. Anyone that got triggered by that sort of thing. It's like, bruv, you can come out to us. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. It's 2025 now. But listen, Lloyd, big up yourself. Hope you are good. I wanted to start actually with Manchester City and the news about Wirtz. According to Plattenberg, it looks as though it's going LB to be Bayern Munich he chooses and not Man City. Where a couple of weeks ago it felt like City were in the driving seat. What's your thoughts on this news that's come out this afternoon?
I don't think it's anything serious, this, in my opinion, at the moment. We all know that Wirtz's family want him to stay in Germany. that's been clear for quite some time. And he's just reaffirmed that. That's all he's really said, is that his family want him to stay in Germany and want him to go to Bayern Munich. The thing is, Leverkusen don't want to sell him to Bayern Munich. They don't want to do that for obvious reasons. I mean, they want to sell him to City or Madrid. Now, I don't think Madrid are going to get Wirtz. I don't really think that's serious. I think it's between City and Bayern Munich. And I still think we've got a pretty good chance. Obviously, when you're hearing that his family wants him to stay in Germany, that's obviously going to make the challenge more difficult, because you're now fighting against his family to sign him. But nah, I don't know, man. I don't think what's come out today is that big a deal. I just think it just reaffirms what we already know, that it's going to be tricky for City to sign him, because his family's in his ear saying, stay in Germany. You got the World Cup as well next year. I think, his family are probably telling him, do you really want to go to a new country, a new league a year before the World Cup? Yeah, I mean, maybe stay in Germany just before that. So I think City have got like a challenge. I definitely think that probably at this moment in time, maybe buying a favourites to sign him just because of, the logistics of it. But I don't think City have given up. I think City is right there. And I don't really think this is anything new. This is just telling us that his family want him to stay in Germany, which we already knew anyway. So we'll see, man. We'll see, because obviously Leverkusen, if they're going to sell it to Bayern, it's not a good look, really, that for Leverkusen, is it? Yeah, I mean, you just won the league last year. You finished second this year, and then you send your best player to the guys who just won it. Not ideal, really. So you can see why they want him to go to City. Let's see what happens, man. But listen, we're still there. We're still fighting for his signature. I think we've still got a decent chance, man. But obviously, it's going to be tricky. If we don't get him, then, geez, I don't know what we do then. Someone said, I did a stream, someone said Odegaard. I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. Oh, Odegaard. The guy's got 4 assists. No, you're all right. Better off playing Edison as a creative midfielder. Honestly, I don't know what happens if we don't get Wirtz, man. I don't know what we do in that situation, innit? But I don't think this news is too big. I think it's just everything we've already heard, bro.
What do you think? Do you think, Con? Do you feel like maybe LB's playing it down a little bit? Is this more if he's the number one target? One, it's hard to get a top class German out of Germany. It's hard to stop him going by Munich. The family are pushing for him to stay. How do you think City are going to get on with this?
City always end up finding someone. Like they always end up getting that deal done and over the line. I'm actually quite surprised that he has chosen Bayern over. If that is the case, Bayern over City. I get the family thing, wanted him to stay in Germany. But if you look at it, will he be a rotational 10 with Musiala? How is that going to work? Is Musiala going to want to leave because Wirtz is joining? Would that mean Musiala maybe end up at Man City? I don't know. But in a case of the fact that he wants to go to Bayern, does confuse me. I mean, doesn't really confuse me too much. It's the biggest club in Germany. But in a sense of that they've already got Musiala in there. We know how fantastic he is. Does he want to go ahead and play a role where he might have to rotate with him? Maybe he'll have to start on the bench. I don't know. I thought Man City made sense. But, of course, if the family are out here saying, no, stay in Germany, and LB does have a point, the World Cup is coming up. Will it make sense for him to stay in Germany where he's used to the league? He can still get the numbers. He may not get the numbers in the English league. We don't know. So that probably would make sense to guarantee himself a spot in the German squad or even the starting 11 for the next World Cup. I think if he chooses the decision to go to Bayern, interesting. But it's the factor of will he start? Will he be a rotational with Musiala?
He'd definitely start. He'd play with Musiala. If you look at Germany with Nagelsmann, they often play with Musiala and Wirtz. So I think if he goes Bayern, and let's be honest, most of the games in the Bundesliga they're dominating the ball, so it's not going to be an issue. Yeah. So I think that I think they're just playing both. They ain't going to spend 120 mil to be a rotational player, are they? You know what I mean?
Germany are going to push for it as well, aren't they? If they're playing together regularly for Germany, as in the German FA or whatever they're referred to as in over there in Krautland, like they're going to push for this deal to happen as well, because if they work together regularly and have great chemistry at club level, they're just going to go into the national team and have that same chemistry. Yeah. So that's what you're fighting against. And I'm probably going to misspeak slightly on this, but I always feel like the German football pyramid is set up so that the German national team can be at its strongest, which is why there always seems to be no real backlash about Bayern Munich just simply being able to take other people's players. There is no desire to change the model of how the clubs are run, and essentially with the way they operate their clubs it's almost impossible to catch Bayern Munich financially, because if other teams are growing because the league's getting more popular and other teams are getting better, it's only going to generate more income for Bayern Munich. It's almost their model is, again, I don't, as LB knows, I don't believe that any owner should just be able to come in and spend whatever they want from day one. There has to be checks and balances and have to protect these teams. But in England, you look at Nottingham Forest as an example with where they were. I don't know if a German team following their model of ownership could get to the position that Forest have been in the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know how plausible it is. We obviously saw Leipzig do something, but they're despised by German football. So that's what City are fighting against here. It's the pyramid of German football as well as the family and everything else. Yep. Question for me, is Phil Foden, though, not the heir to the throne of KDB? Should it not be more Gibbs White-esque players you go for, with Phil Foden now being the main creative hub and the main midfielder for you in that regard?
Nah, because Phil Foden, that's not really...
Would you want him as the 10, LB? Would you want him as your future 10?
Foden?
Yeah, there's no way, right?
Nah, not really, man.
Isn't he better off the wing? I don't see all this 10 Foden stuff. I feel like it's all nonsense.
I just think that, like, if you're losing Kevin De Bruyne, you need to go and get an out-and-out creator, a passer. Yeah, Foden's more of a second striker for me, like right behind the striker, playing off him and shooting, not really creating. You know what I mean? He can also play deep and carry it, but I don't think that's really Foden's game, is like the creative side. His game is like scoring goals, you know what I mean? So that for me is where Foden's game lies. Probably off the right, Wirtz in the middle, Marmoush off the left is what I would sort of see our lineup potentially being next year. So and there's no guarantee Foden will be in the starting 11 next year, with the way that he's played this year. He needs to pick up his game, doesn't he? So now we definitely need to go into the market, man. Now, obviously, if it's not Wirtz, I don't know what you do at that point, because there's not really many players on the market, is there? I was speaking this morning on my channel. I was saying, maybe for me, if you can't get Wirtz, maybe you get sort of like another 8. Maybe you try and get Tijani Reinders out of AC Milan. I know he's just signed a new contract, but if you put 75 million down, I'm sure that'd get them interested. Do you try and get him and Gibbs White rather than, because the thing is, if you don't get Wirtz, who are you getting? I mean, I'd love to go and get Palmer, but it's going to be tricky to get Palmer out of Chelsea. He's got 6 years left on his contract. So if you don't get Palmer, who's Simmons? Do you rate Simmons like that?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, replacing KDB is one of the hardest things your club has ever had to do in its history. I know you had that 60s team with Summerby and co, but replacing your club's greatest ever players, it doesn't happen regularly because your greatest player is your greatest player. And no club really in England has ever gone from, okay, this midfielder is our greatest, and then the replacement becomes better and better and better. You may have peaked. Like, this is genuinely, you may not see a better midfielder than KDB for the rest of your life, and that's not a dig. It's the reality of the situation, and it's finding that solution. And I think Gibbs White's a good signing, but I don't believe he's anywhere near KDB's level. I think he is a category or 2 below it. As you say, Musiala and Wirtz are the 2 names that stand out. I agree with you, by the way, on Foden. I'm asking the question to get your view on it. What I find worrying about Foden, he's had some great seasons for you, is that every time, I remember when David Silva was leaving and you were linked to replacements, and I said, well, I thought Foden was the guy. And I remember then, no, he's more of a winger, Terry. And then you started signing more wingers. And I said, well, if you're signing more wingers, then Foden can't be the number 1 guy. Terry, you're an idiot. He plays more central. He's going to be the David Silva replacement. And then David Silva left. And that's my only kind of worry for Phil Foden at City, is it doesn't seem that the positions that you need players in, it doesn't seem like he is the right fit. I know he can play second striker, but he never seems to have a fixed position anymore. And I don't know, maybe cashing in on him and investing that money in a different type of player would help. Maybe, because he's not one of your wingers. He can't be. You need creative players. Is that not an option if his form doesn't improve?
No, we're not going to cash in on him after one season. He just won the Player of the Year, so he does need to get back onto form because he's not been good enough this year. Far from it. But now Phil Foden, when he's on it, man, it's a tremendous player to have because he can play anywhere. Apart, by the way, being that good can actually hurt you at times, isn't it? Because you don't nail down a specific sort of spot in the team. He's constantly being moved, false 9, left wing, right wing, attacking midfielder. So I don't think so, man. I think Pep's doing the right thing, leaving him out of the team. He's not started, I think, the last 4 games. He's not started a single game. I think just leave him out of the team now. I just leave him out of the team until the new season, and then just get him back in the new season and just see what happens in it. But he's got to perform. If he doesn't perform next year, then he's not going to be in the team. He's not going to be playing. Then he's not going to play for England. So it's up to Phil Foden to get himself back on it, man. But I reckon give him this rest that he needs and then see what happens next year. But it's a big year for Phil Foden next year. He's got to perform, man. 100%. I reckon he will.
DJ is a Chelsea fan, says Chelsea have already have 150 million price tag on his head, talking, of course, about Palmer. He will not be leaving this season or this summer. Besides, we clearly are building a team around him. How much would E-Review be prepared from an Arsenal perspective, Conor, and yourself, LB? How much would you be prepared to pay Chelsea for the services? You'd pay 150 million for Cole Palmer.
If Florian Wirtz said, nah, yeah, and City was like, right, we'll call Palmer's the guy, and that's the price, I pay that. I pay it.
I mean, he's top 5 tens in the world for me. So easily that's the amount of money you should be paying. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I do like to make jokes about how Palmer has uncomfortable conversations in the last couple of months. He hasn't been on the top of his form, but I like to put it the factor of, well, do you know what? It's with Maresca's system, in my opinion. I actually think, and I've spoken to a lot of Chelsea fans, and they do agree with this. In the 10, I feel like he actually just works better off the right. I might be wrong, but I think he works better off the right, for Chelsea anyway, than in the 10. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I always thought when he was at City, his best position was as a Mahrez regen, right wing. Yeah.
So I think if they utilised him, maybe next season with Chelsea, if they have a bit of a play around with some transfers, then I get some players gone, he may be able to be utilised more on the right, and then be able to see more and better of Cole Palmer, because I do think he has fallen off in terms of second half of the season. I don't think he's been anywhere near as good as he has been before. But for me, yeah, he's top 5 in the world in terms of where he's playing at the moment. And yeah, I mean that price tag fair between 100 and that anyway. So
and this is why City should never have sold him.
Odegaard. So
yeah, you look at him now. I know he's had that period where he wasn't scoring goals, but yeah, I agree with you. LB, huge mistake to sell him.
How many goals has he got this year, Palmer?
He's probably got. I mean, he didn't score for a few months, but I'm guessing here. I'm going to check. I reckon he's got 6. He must have between
15 goals and 9 assists. So he's done 24 G&A. Yeah. I know football's not all about G&A. Just looking at his numbers. So he's done 24 G&A in the Premier League, and people are saying he's had a shit season. Pretty decent to me.
He's already got himself into 1.5, well, 1 and 3/4 seasons, nearly 2 seasons actually. We've 34 games gone, Terry. In 2 seasons, he's actually played more games this season than last year for Chelsea. He's already in their top 10 goal scorers of all time in the league goal scorers of all time on 37. Sorry, he's already 37 league goals in 64 games for a midfield player. Is fantastic. And I just think as well, imagine he was in a team that was more consistent than Chelsea have been. I think there is even more to come from him in that regard. So next season, if Chelsea buy right in the summer, this is a midfielder that could genuinely score 20 plus goals a season every 100%. Year. Like it's and that's why he's worth the money, because that should be extra goals to a team. And a lot of these goals are not tap-ins that have been worked by the team. So many of these goals, some are quite a few are penalties, but he's brilliant at them. So it's an attribute. So many of these goals are kind of self-made, or the way the modern day fans are talking about him, youngsters like Conor, is low XG. All right, the low XG goals, and they're out of nowhere. So yeah, this is a 20 plus goal season scorer. And if you've got a prolific striker, you've got wingers that are scoring goals. Any team that adds Palmer, you're essentially adding the prospect of 20 league goals a season. Game changing. Yeah. You know, if any of the top teams that are actually challenging for the title added a midfielder scoring 20 league goals a season, it's a difference. It's the difference between winning the league and not winning it. So yeah, I reckon he's worth that money. I don't think they'll sell him, but I think he's worth that money when you break it down.
They'd be stupid. They've got way more to, well, not for 150 million, but they've got a lot more to get rid of in that club than they do Cole Palmer. He's the least of their worries at the moment. So they've got way more dross to get rid of before they go for some of their best players.
This attacking midfielder market's so dead. Like, we spoke a bit about it.
It is limited at the moment. I won't.
We spoke about it last week, didn't we? Say about the striker market. Yeah. And like, you look at the attacking midfielder market, I'd argue is almost worse. Now, certain areas of the football, it's like there's some still some different areas in football still pretty chill, but the attacking midfield market is just crazy. I mean, if you don't say City don't get Wirtz, right? Who can City get then as the next guy? Who's the next guy? Eze?
This is what I was going to say to you guys. What do you make of the news that one of the Saudi clubs, I can't remember which one, is willing to pay big money for Bruno Fernandes?
Makes sense.
But do you? I get why it makes sense. They want Bruno, but do you think
what's big money?
Say they offer 100 million for Bruno Fernandes as an example. Do you think Man United should accept it?
This is what I mean. Yeah. Well, but this is the thing.
For Bruno Fernandes.
What would United's season be like this season if Bruno wasn't in the squad? He's been carrying United on his back. This reminds me of like when Aubameyang was playing for Arsenal when we were in that really shit period, right? Just always, he was the scapegoat for us. Listen, Bruno, for me, Bruno, I think honestly, I'd say value him more. Take more for Bruno, because you're going to have to. It's same with I'm not saying Bruno De Bruyne, but I'm saying the level of player that's leaving, the impact that he's going to have when he leaves. If Bruno was to leave, you're going to need as much money as possible to try and replace him in multiple areas as well, because you know how bad United's squad depth is at the moment.
The problem for me is I was talking about this on the United Stand a couple of hours ago, and my first thought was, do you know what? If they gave us 150 million and I knew we were going to be able to land Musiala or Wirtz, so the examples I gave, then I was like, maybe I'd be completely fine with it, because I do believe Bruno Fernandes is one of the best attacking midfield players in the world. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, we're sitting here talking about Palmer and going, wow, 15 goals. This man has 19 goals this season in a much worse team. So if we're going to value Palmer, he's older, so there isn't the sell-on value and longevity. But for me, you've changed my mind 100%, LB. the attacking midfielder market is awful. Bruno Fernandes, there are some that are better, but how many attacking midfielders in the world are genuinely better than Bruno Fernandes? Plus, leadership qualities, understand the club. We need some old. I don't. Who are we going to replace him with? Where you go, that is an upgrade. Genuinely, how many people are actually better than Bruno Fernandes?
He's also 31 this winter, yeah, in
True.
September. So if you're offered 100 million quid for Bruno Fernandes, I think you got to say that.
Yeah, I think it's too early. If he was 32, 33, maybe if we had a better squad. I think the way we're trying to build, I think we need some continuity. I just don't know who else out there that we could realistically sign. So my point earlier about I'd be happy if it was Wirtz or Musiala, we're not attracting them. So there are better players out there potentially, but are they coming to Man United? I don't see them doing it. So I wouldn't do it right now at all. I wouldn't do it in any. I just couldn't. It doesn't make any sense for Man United to sell him.
It's the same with Chelsea. Sorry, you selling Bruno is the last of your problems. Like, you don't need to. That is, you've got way more issues to solve. Same with Chelsea. They've got way more issues to solve than selling their best player. There's no need. Even if Saudi come in, I mean, we know what the Saudis are like. They'll offer ridiculous money. It's actually whether up to if Bruno actually, because for me, I don't think Bruno's one of them players that, you know, we've had a lot of these players recently who have gone to Saudi, well, originally for the project, but it's actually for the money. For me, Bruno isn't one of those players. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Bruno chooses the money over what he's got going at Manchester United at the moment. I think he'd be a fool to do that.
I don't think he'd be a fool. I think for me, mate, you've been offered like 500 grand a week tax free in Saudi Arabia. You'd rather stay fucking at Man United.
Yes. I don't see why that would be a problem, LB. I see why. I don't understand why you choose to go to Saudi for the money. Fair enough, you're going to get the money. But let's be honest and real. Are you going to enjoy yourself that much out there compared to playing in the English Premier League?
I love it, man. I've seen the travel bloggers
because you're getting the money. But would you enjoy your football more in Saudi Arabia than in the English Premier League? For one of the best.
Mahrez looks like he's enjoying it quite a lot from what I've seen. Do you know what I mean? It's just won the Champions League. Nah, bro, I'll be real, man. I watch the travel vloggers, yeah? Looks like a pretty sick gaff, to be honest with you. The people seem quite kind. You got Al Bake, the chicken shop, man. Yeah, it's like you're playing, you got the nice sun, you got the nice weather.
I think that all tears away in the space of a couple of months and you realise,
Yeah, I think, listen, for yourself, LB, if someone said to you now that we'll pay you double what you earn on YouTube, 3 times what you earn on YouTube to do some travel vlogging and live in Saudi Arabia, I get why you would take it. I would love, they won't admit it on camera, some of the younger players that have gone to Saudi, I would love their view on how they actually feel when these teams are winning football matches, when they're scoring goals. Because for me, I've watched some of the games and it's harsh. I mean, even the boxing that they've done out there, and fair play to them for the money they've thrown into the boxing that needed it. There's a reason now why a lot of those shows now, they're bringing them to, they're paying for them still Saudi and advertising, but they're bringing them back to England because the atmosphere was dead. And I think
we've seen the stadiums; they're half empty. Like
yeah. And I just think there are a lot of football players where the money sounds great, but I think they go there and it's football, but it's not what they want. So I don't think Bruno would leave for that yet. There's a comment here that says Cunha, Cherki, and Mbeumo to replace him, run us the bread. Look,
Mbeumo's straight.
The thing with this is that Mbeumo and Cunha create less than half the chances per game that Bruno Fernandes does. They're very different types of players. Cherki, yes, could be a replacement, 21 years of age, but I wouldn't just do it in a straight swap. I think Cherki's someone that you go and buy anyway, and you see how he does. Because this is why it would be stupid. You get rid of Bruno that is creating and scoring still. You know, the only player that's been, and he's been slightly below him, but he had some injuries in terms of goals and assists since he arrived in the Premier League, was KDB, the one for me in the top 3 greatest midfield players in the history of the Premier League. He's the only person who's been as consistent as Bruno in terms of scoring goals and creating chances. That is a massive attribute to lose from your team. And I think letting someone go in their pomp for a younger player, I think you have to have, and City have been brilliant at this by and large in the last decade. You bring the new guy in to see if they're good enough to replace him, and then you let them go. Doing it that way round, would really, really damage us. So yeah, I would like those 3 players. I'd love them to come to our team, but I still wouldn't be removing Bruno Fernandes just yet, even for £100 million. I think that would be too big of a risk for us to take. But viewers, give us your opinions on it. Dross in the Chelsea squad, and yet the same wins as Arsenal.
Yeah,
Who said Chelsea got Dross? Did you say that?
This is what I mean. Why? This is people. Listen to the statement before you're typing out. I said that Cole Palmer has had a Dross second half of the season. I'm not saying the Chelsea squad have had a Dross second half. I've said Cole Palmer has. What's his GA for 2025? What is it? 4 goals and like 1 assist. Hold on, I'll stat pad that. Stat check it. Sorry,
stat pad it.
Stat check.
Come on then.
2.
Come on then.
3.
Let's see if your opinions are as good as your thumbnails. Come on.
Cool. Why
be having you up. No pressure.
2, 3.
Nearly 2,000 people staring at you. Come on.
Hold on. 1. Fuck's sake. 1, 2, 3.
Come on.
I think it's 3 goals, 3 assists. 3 goals, 4 assists.
You think?
I've just seen it on football.
You think or you know?
3 goals. 1, 2. Yeah, 3 goals, 3 assists. You can't tell me that's not a Dross second half of the season. That's from January till now.
By his standards, he has had a poor second half of the season. I think, yeah. No, I agree. By the way, just CFC, Conor hates his football club and wants Arteta and the whole squad sacked, pretty much. So he would agree with you how bad Arsenal have been.
Hold on a minute. I don't hate my footbal club. What's this all about?
I've never heard you say anything good about them in the 2 years you've been coming on the terrace.
Are you an Arteta outer, bro?
Yeah, I am. Terry, how many times? How many times have I said on coming on to the Football Terrace for a match reaction that I will give credit where credit's due? How many times have I given credit for the squad when we perform well? Plenty of times.
A handful, but it's the way up. It's like you win 5-0. It's like, yes, yeah, well done. It's what we should be doing. You know, you win narrowly, and it's not good enough. This manager's got to go. He's shit, is what you say.
Now you know you're trying to rattle me because you know damn well that's not the case. Literally, I'm always hearing from Terry. Oh, I mention Conor a lot. I say he makes good arguments.
Conor, I'll be honest with Conor. Conor is someone I refer to a lot. Conor is the only Arteta outer that I've ever heard, and I have to admit I don't watch every stream by every Arteta outer because that would be impossible. Who said, I know we could go backwards if we change manager, but I'm prepared to take the risk in the pursuit of moving forward. And I thought he's the only Arteta outer who has ever been honest that his desires may not work. And I just think that honesty makes the opinion hold more water than someone who is 100%. If we do this, we're going to become a better team. You're lying because there's never 100%. But the same as no signing, you could literally sign. Man United could sign Haaland. There are no guarantees he's going to do for us what he did for City because there are variable factors. So that's why I like Conor, because I don't agree with all his opinions, but he has an argument, he makes points, and he also understands that he may not be right. And that's just an honest man. And that most YouTubers and content creators are not that honest, if I'm being frank with you. If I'm being frank. It's why Dan Potts is not here. Everyone's asking where Pottsy is. Mark Goldwood made me kick him off the show. So that's all it was. It's not true, by the way. Dan Potts is busy and couldn't be here today. That wouldn't be happening at all. Let's have a look at some more of these super chats here. Shouldn't Diallo be the right 10 rather than a right wing back? Okay, it's a really good question. And for me, though, if you look into how Ruben Amorim uses his players, people want specialists. Everyone talks about we need specialists. You can't have 11 specialists in any team ever. Doesn't work. If you think go through most of the greatest teams in history to prove the point, there are players within those teams that, okay, he's a centre back, but he can play at left back. He's a central midfielder, but he can go into the 10. You think about City are a great example, the best English team of the last decade, the team that won the treble and did the 4-peat, one of the greatest European sides in the history of football. Multiple players in that squad that are multifaceted. Gundogan in his peak could play central midfield, could play attacking midfield, could play false nine. He isn't a specialist who can only play one role. It's important to have that versatility. It's massively important in football. So Diallo can play in that right 10 and he'll play games there. But it's amazing that he can go into a right wing back role in this system and also do well, which is why it's to the point, Decay, and you've asked this many times, are you worried that you're only going to buy players that can only play in a rigid 3-4-3 system? No, because someone like Ahmad, someone like Mbomo, someone like Cunha is a great example. They could play in this system based on their talents and ability and their versatile nature. Equally, if we change managers in 3 years and we suddenly go to playing 4-3-3, there's also a place in the team for those players as well. So that's why I've never been that worried about it. The people have, I think, have over-focused on that as a negative, if I'm honest with you. Comparing draws to losses is what Bath says here. I mean, look, Arsenal have had a marginally better Premier League season than Chelsea. I don't think any gooner's going to argue that, are they? It's just the way it is. Transfer market.
I agree, but it's going to suck when we could possibly end with no trophy and they end with one. That's the worst part. And that's going to be the argument, isn't it? That will be the argument.
It is an argument, but let me. My dad put this in my head. He's a Spurs fan because me and him were chatting last week, and it was a little bit like, you know, the scene from the chicken wing thing with Paul Rudd, where he's like, "You and me both being here, who'd have thought it? Not me."
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
we kind of had that conversation. We're like, "Fucking hell, Dad!" We're all season, we're both ripped into our own clubs with each other. Are we maybe going to be in a final together? That doesn't make sense, right? And I said to my dad, like, at least you had a better season than Arsenal. And he snaps at me. He went, "Shut the fuck up." So what? My dad hates all that stuff. And he's 70 years old, Spurs fan his whole life. He went, "They don't." And he just gave me this example. And he just said, my dad runs a number of estate agents. And he said, if my business targets turning over £100,000 this month and we hit 80,000, we haven't hit a target. If the estate agent next door targets making 20 grand this month, but they make 25,000, he went, who's had the better month? And I was like, yeah, I get your point. So my dad views it as you guys, for instance, getting to a semi-final and failing is still a better achievement than sides being in lesser competitions and winning them. Mm. And again, everyone's got a different view on it.
I disagree with that.
Were you saying my dad's a dickhead, bruv?
So you're telling me it's better to lose the Champions League final than win the Europa League?
No, it's how you phrase it. But you're fighting for again, I'm going to go with my dad's view. It's why I'm so open-minded on this. If Arsenal were in the Conference League, do you think they'd have won it this year?
Arsenal?
If Arsenal were in the Conference League, instead of Chelsea,
they could have played the B team and won it. Yeah.
But that's the point about the Chelsea, because it was Chelsea that Conor brought up. They would have pissed that competition and won it easy, but they're in a much harder competition in a semi-final. Yes, Chelsea will have a trophy, and you can't take it away from them. I'm not going to slag them off. I'm not going to diminish it in any way, shape, or form. But I view it a little like this. Arsenal fans being angry that Chelsea have won that competition, I think, is flawed. Because you were in a much harder competition that you got to the semi-finals in. Had you been in that competition, you'd have won it. But would Arsenal fans actually feel satisfied with this season if it was all the same, but you swap Conference League for a Champions League semi-final? I still think Arsenal fans would be upset with where their club is at.
Correct, yeah. But the history books in 10 years, 20 years time will show that one team won a trophy that year, the other. If I was a Chelsea fan, obviously shamelessly, I would probably be like, yo, we won the Conference League, you won nothing, we've had a better season than you. Yeah. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd just be like, I'll just let them do it, innit? But like deep down, Arsenal fans would be like, not that arsed about it. But at the end of the day, one team wins the trophy and the other one doesn't. It's like City win the FA Cup and finish fourth, and Arsenal finish second, but get to the Champions League semi-final. City have had a better season, isn't it?
It's the thing. It's little things for me.
Sorry. Go on, Cons.
No, it's little things for me because I get both points. Like it makes more sense. You're going to remember Chelsea won the Conference League this year, maybe compared to Arsenal not winning the Champions League. But the point I get from Terry is like the run that we've had, beating Madrid in a fixture where no one predicted us to win that. Not even a majority of Arsenal fans would have thought we'd have got through Madrid, and the way we did in winning both games, not just winning one, winning both. If we were to beat PSG as well, say, and then get to the final, I guess it's more memorable for Arsenal fans in a sense. But then again, like you look at the match of Tottenham versus Ajax, everyone remembers that game. But it's not the fact that they didn't win the trophy that season, but moments like that, you're going to remember. But I do understand. But for me as a standpoint, I mean, I'm never going to forget these Madrid games, but it's going to hurt more with the factor of, that everyone's practically going to win a trophy this season and we're going to fall out. But that's why we have these memories in football with the games like Madrid, maybe PSG.
And that's why, by the way, Conor, when I come on the terrace after that game, I said, you need to go win the trophy now. because all these Arsenal fans was gassing up beating Real Madrid, and rightly so, big up for the result. It was a good result. You destroyed them. But then as soon as I said, you need to go and win it, Arsenal fans started crying. Oh, why can't you just give us praise? Why can't you just do it? Blah, 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 blah. I said, I give you praise. I give you praise. I give you plenty of praise. Yeah. Big up to you. You smashed Real Madrid. But now you need to go and win it because you're a big football club. And big football clubs don't celebrate just winning against Real Madrid and then that's it. They celebrate winning trophies. So that's why Arsenal need to go and win this trophy now. Otherwise, that Real Madrid game means very little. I'm not going to say it means nothing because I don't think it means nothing. I think it shows me that Arsenal can compete with the big boys now, yeah? But if you don't win it, the trophy, the Champions League, it's kind of like, not again, it's not irrelevant, but it don't mean nothing, mate. You know what I mean? It just doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting about it? I do get your point that in many, many years, and it's a long time where the trophy will just be looked at. But at the same time, it's not the... I do think that I want us to win the Europa League this year because, it adds a trophy to our European legacy. Having said that, I'm just thinking about it while we were talking then. Man United won the Europa League in 2017. And although we won that and we won League Cups and we won FA Cups, we are still looked at and spoken about as a shambles. So nearly a decade later, after winning numerous trophies in the last 12 years, you're only going to probably pick out 3, maybe 4 English clubs in the last decade have actually won more than Man United when we've been awful. Man United fans aren't happy still. We're still ridiculed all the time. So just winning the trophy, and none of us feel that good about our club. We enjoy the moment of winning a trophy, but in reality, we're still disheartened. And I think that is where, that's how my dad sort of views the situation. And I understand his perspective as well, is as a Spurs fan, he'll be over the moon to win it, but he still thinks his football club is an absolute disgrace and in a mess. Where for Arsenal fans, and a lot of them, you've got a very good summer ahead, it looks like, with some decent players. You've been in these title races. The likelihood is that next season, Arsenal are going to have a much better campaign than Tottenham. And that's kind of how my dad views football. And I get it from his perspective and point of view. Trophy would be amazing, but it doesn't fix anything, just winning the trophy. He hates Daniel Levy, he hates the way they run the club, and he just feels that until they're gone, they're never really going to improve. So look, I do hear all sides of that argument, and the history one definitely holds water. But then how long history? People laugh at Arsenal for having an Intercity Fairs Cup. And it just goes to show that, do we really care about history? Because if we do, you'd understand that was what the UEFA Cup used to be called. And back in those days, there wasn't a big distinction between how seriously all 3 of the European trophies were taken by clubs, because only the champions got into the Champions League. If you were a cup winner, you would pick the Cup Winners' Cup, and if you came second in the league, you'd be in the Europa League, the UEFA, unless you won the FA Cup as well. And then you'd always pick the Cup Winners' Cup, and the third place team would go into the UEFA Cup. But all 3 were really serious. So when we say in history, it will show that Chelsea won a trophy and Arsenal didn't. That is true. But people laugh at Arsenal for having an Intercity Fairs Cup because they view it as pony and stupid. People laugh. Fergie did do well in Europe. Fergie is the 3rd most successful manager in terms of total trophy haul in the history of European football, behind Pep and Ancelotti. But now modern day fans disrespect the Cup Winners' Cup because they think it's like, what the Conference League is now. No, it was huge. It was gargantuan. It was a very serious tournament. So the only problem I have with the history take, and I'm someone that wants the history, by the way, so I'm not against it, is that we spend half our time as football fans disrespecting the history of football anyway. So in the grand scheme of things, if we're going to take your trophies away in 20 years' time and say they were meaningless, what's the fucking point? And by the way, it's a lot of those online Standard FC mugs that do that. They literally, it's all about trophies. You win a trophy, don't fucking mean nothing in 20 years. What are we arguing about? What are we arguing about? So, yeah, for me, it's, look, win the trophies. It's always important to get them. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think we can sit here and lie and say Chelsea winning a trophy. If they don't improve in the league, they're not challenging for their Premier League, people will still remember an era. Say they have now 20 years, Chelsea, where they don't compete for a league title, but they pick up a few conference leagues. The era will still be remembered for a team that was average in the grand scheme of things. And how do we know that? Because that is what they were looked at in the 20 year prior to Roman coming. A team that could pick up cups, a team that won some Cup Winners' Cups, but never a team that you took seriously in terms of a title race. history, no one that was alive and remembers that forgets that. Does that make sense? So yeah, look, I think what you've got to aim for is the trophies and being a very good team in your league. And until you're doing that, I don't think any fan should ever feel satisfied. Personally,
agreed.
Both at our clubs anyway, at our clubs, with the amount of money we spend. Like, if you're Brighton, you should be well satisfied with a few trophies here and there. Like, there is a different level to it.
The history stuff for me only is relative. It fits the argument. That's when the history stuff. If there's an argument, they'll either count titles, which should always count in debates, from whether they're from the 40s or the 50s or even the 30s. Like I've had debates with my mates saying, "Oh, but where's your Premier League title? English leagues are what 1930s? No, they don't count." It's like, so what's the whole point of talking football if we're not and trophies that make us one of the biggest clubs in the country? Then what? So all of a sudden, but then when it suits the narrative, then they count.
Well, I've seen Arsenal fans do that on Spaces. I was listening to a Space debate once.
I can't stand.
And they got it's as KJ says it. KJ just says Spaces are the ghetto, and he was basically this Arsenal fan was trying to take away. First of all, somebody was trying to take away some of Arsenal's early league titles from like the 20s and 30s, and he's like, you can't remove history. And then somebody said, well, you can't claim to be the first invincible team because Preston did it in like 1900 something. I mean, yeah, but it was different then because there's less teams in the league and didn't play as many games. And it's like, yes, but all those seasons in that period were the same and no one else went invincible. It was still hard to do. People pick and choose when history counts or when you can remove it to try and win contemporary arguments. And that's the issue for me. If you're going to start removing history, then in reality, nothing we achieve today matters. Because in 10, 20, 30 years' time, what we're going to start removing. And that's why I don't like the Cup Winners' Cup being diminished. It's being diminished by people. And the mainstream media don't help because I've seen people do it on the overlap. Like laugh at the Intercity Fairs Cup. And I'm sitting there going, there's professional footballers on there and they're saying nothing about it. It fucking annoys me. It really annoys me. It really, really does. It's crazy. And lots of our teams, by the way, Arsenal, I swear City won the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, we did.
You did. Like, some of our own fans slag it off. And you just think, you fucking morons. Like, honestly, morons from outer space. Hit the like button for us, people. We're going to go to a few more of your chats that have come in here. Arsenal have made the Champions League semi-final 3 times in our history, 06, 09, and 2025. For Capman. Hey, Capman. Capman to expect us to win it after being out for 7 years and only 2 years back is funny.
I think your standards are muddied, lad. I'll just say that. I think your standards are absolutely muddied. You spent 700 odd million quid, yeah? And you just beat Real Madrid. But now you just see the arguments that they do. They always turn the arguments in their favour, don't they? You've just beaten Real Madrid, yeah? So I say go and win it, and now you're telling me that is unreasonable. See what some of these fans want to do, yeah? They want to have their cake and eat it. When they beat Real Madrid, they want everyone to sit here and give them all the praise in the world. Oh, amazing! Yes, Mikel. Thank you, Mikel. Brilliant Rice, brilliant Arsenal. Oh my God, what a team! So then when you say, all right, go and win it. Oh no, we can't expect to win it. We've only been in the semi-finals 3 times in our history, and this is the second time back in it. We can't win it. That's unrealistic. Oh, but you're not giving us enough credit when we beat Real Madrid. Which one do you want? Do you want us to treat you like a big club? You're the 3rd biggest club in the country. Do you want us to sit here and say you should go and win it now that you beat Real Madrid? Or do you want us to treat you like a minnow of this country, a small club? Because you've got it twisted, man. You can't have it both ways. You can't. Either we sit here after Real Madrid and say, oh, no one expected that, you'll get fucking panned off PSG, and then you stop moaning that we're not giving you credit, or we give you the credit that you deserve by beating Real Madrid, but then you go and do it, then we speak about Arsenal go and winning it. Sitting here, you want all the praise in the world for beating Real Madrid. You want us to tell you all the players are world-class, Raya's world-class, Saliba's world-class, Gabriel, Rice, Saka, but you can't possibly talk about winning it. We're not possibly allowed to talk about winning it because that is unrealistic. Sound all right, then? But this is what you get with some of these fans, man. It's mad.
The funny thing is, I can't rebuttal because I agree. I agree.
He knows it's true. What do you want us to do, Dane? Yeah? What do you want us to do? Because I guarantee you, yeah, when we was in that, I guarantee you or people like you after the Real Madrid game was cooking me for not giving you enough praise for beating Real Madrid. But now you want us to calm down about talking about winning the Champions League. And you can't have it both ways, mate.
LB, if we were currently 3-0 up against PSG, big up to Dane, thanks for the super chat. I doubt Dane would have sent not the super chat, but the way it was worded anyway. Because it's the position we're in. We're now in a position where we could possibly get knocked out. And now people are now saying, oh, but you shouldn't have expected us to win it. Listen, no one expected us to win the Champions League this year. No one expected us to beat Real Madrid this year. But I can understand from a rival standpoint and also from my standpoint, we've gone ahead and beaten the current European champions. Why shouldn't we now be given the level and possible favourite of winning it?
Can I play devil's advocate here, Dane? And I'd love to hear back from you on this. This is what I think the issue is. I think you're right, LB, to say go on and win it. I think sometimes it's timing. And I'll give you an example. My daughter comes home and said, Daddy, look, I got my highest ever test score. I got 85%. If I went, oh, well done. Now get 100% next time, straight away, that would probably and I think that's what it is. It's the time. And you know what you do, LB, and it's funny. Right? I find it funny. I'm not an Arsenal fan. It's well done, now win it. It's a sort of shutting down their happiness instantly and raising that standard instantly. I think some Arsenal fans are like, just give us a few days to celebrate it before we. I think that's what it is.
The thing is, yeah, no. That's no.
You're on a wind up. You're on a wind up.
I'm not on a wind up at all. I give Arsenal credit. I give them the praise, mate. I give them praise on my channel. I give praise on this channel. I give praise on every channel, yeah? But the fact is, like Conor just said, when you beat the reigning champions and you batter them over the two legs, you then think it's unrealistic or unfair for me to say, well, you need to go and win it now. This is not a Leicester City winning the Premier League. This is Arsenal. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Their fan base, they've got one of the biggest sport fan bases in world football. They've just beaten the Champions League winners, Real Madrid, and now we're not allowed to talk about them going winning it. Mad.
No, listen, they should be thinking about winning it. They absolutely, it's their third semi-final, and they should be looking to make their second final, and they should be pushing really, really hard for it. I do. I always say this to Don, though. Sometimes it's when and how things are said. A few people saying Terry Way defending Arsenal. It's not about defending Arsenal. It's about understanding how football fans feel and trying to get to the bottom of it. I'm asking questions here. You know what I mean? It's that's all it is. It's not about defending anyone. I'm representing my audience. Sorry for talking about my audience. To be fair, LB expectations are set before the season. Each test we pass deserves praise. Odd shift, but expectations should be a tool. Should be a tool to beat Arsenal. I think you mean shouldn't with the way you wrote the rest of it, but should or shouldn't be a tool to beat Arsenal with. But expectations change. Expectations absolutely change. As an example, now, Man United weren't expected to beat Real Sociedad. They weren't expected to beat Lyon. They weren't expected to so far be beating Bilbao. I think a lot of people are going to expect us to beat Tottenham based on Tottenham's final record. So the expectations change. Liverpool weren't expected to win the league this year. Once they got 5, 6, 7 points clear, we all expected them to win the league from that point. So expectations can certainly change. You know, if Arsenal are 3-0 up tomorrow night with 20 minutes to go, we all expect Arsenal to see it through and win from that point. So they do change, and it's fair for them to change. I just disagree with something that was about Arsenal then. Oh, who knew? I've fucking ruined my
Big Arsenal fan, Terry, making negative points about Arsenal.
Sorry.
How dare you, Terry?
Sorry.
How dare you have an opinion?
Mark, don't call me a prat. Mark. To be fair to Arsenal, I agree. They are one of the biggest clubs in England. They really need some European success, though, to be classed as one of the 100%. Biggest clubs in Europe. Yeah, they need more contemporary European success. Adding and a Champions League changes that massively, I think.
That's on the pedestal.
But don't speak about that match getting it, and I'll speak about winning it, bro. We'll just be happy that they beat Real Madrid.
Great question here for you, boys. Who would win 100 Henrys or one chair?
That's class.
It's not. Henry is one of the weakest little men. It's funny because I always slag Henry off on camera for a joke, and I do get a comment every week going, Terry, the way you bully him is just disgusting. The other day you even spoke about his wife. I was like, yeah, but we're on that. Sometimes you think, I always feel like I feel sorry for the people that make those comments because they give me the impression they don't have any friends, and especially male friends. Where you boys are probably the same. You have got some male friends in your life that you could say the most atrocious things to, but you
100%.
both know it's a joke. And I genuinely feel sorrow and pain for any man who doesn't have male friends in their life or female. I've got a few female friends I used to do kickboxing with. And the things we say, I wouldn't repeat the things we say to each other because it would get a horrible reaction. But in our little friends group, it's all acceptable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
they actually say you have better trust with your friends if there's like casual, friendly insults, like that makes you closer. That makes the trust bond better. I saw that sort of thing the other day about it. If you don't have that. Plus, it gives you. I think it's a sort of thing that boosts your confidence as well. Just say whatever, and they won't care. You throw it backwards.
Without a doubt. Like I wind my kids up a lot. And I always say to their mum, like, so I don't wind them up. No, they've got to learn to take jokes and to handle banter and to be the butt of the joke. Because I think they'll end up growing up and have a better friends group. They'll have more friends. There'll be someone that people enjoy being around. And my hope, I'm not a psychologist. My hope is that stops them feeling down and depressed and more anxious when they're older. I genuinely hope that because I just think about me and my friends. And we're all quite good in that way. Like when none of us are overly sensitive in when we know it's a joke, if that makes sense. And yeah, hopefully it works. I hope. You know what I mean? I hope. It's a risk.
You've got to be careful.
I'm worse with my boys than I am my daughter. But even with my daughter, like I have to be careful. I use words that nobody like. When I was younger, you could be slim. If you ate a lot, someone would still call you a fat bastard, even though you're not fat. And I try to explain this to my daughter. Like if I say to you, your brothers, stop being fat, I don't literally mean you're fat because they're not. I mean, you're being greedy, you're eating too much.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's just trying to, and she was like, I don't understand. I was like, well, she said the word wicked the other day because wicked's coming back. The 90s are coming back. And some kid on YouTube said, oh, it's wicked. And she went, I don't get it. And I explained to her, well, wicked means good. And that's what I say to her now. So sometimes when someone calls you fat, they just mean you're greedy, not actually fat. I love being a dad. It's so fun talking about that shit. Anyway, are Arsenal the best team in the Champions League, LB?
No.
There we go. Let me just have a super chat first. This is from Super Mick Arteta. So, by your logic, Terry, if a team draws easier Europa League level teams in the Champions League and win it, the trophy should count for less than. The trophy doesn't count for less, but let us not pretend if we are picking between the greatest Champions League champions of all time. For instance, Arsenal this year. Arsenal, PSV, okay, fair enough. Team they should beat. If they end up knocking out Real Madrid, followed by a brilliant, maybe the best PSG team we've seen, followed by either Inter Milan or potentially this treble-chasing Barca team, that holds more weight than if they knocked out PSV, played Brest in the quarterfinals, knocked out Schalke in the semi-finals, and beat Bayer Leverkusen in the final. When you break it down, the teams that Arsenal are facing would put them into a better category of champions. So it doesn't mean the trophy's worth less. You're still going to celebrate it because I don't care who my team plays to win a trophy. I didn't care that we had Millwall in an FA Cup final once. Couldn't care less. We deserve to be there. But if you knock out big teams and really good teams on the way, when we beat City in the FA Cup final, that made me feel a very different way to beating Millwall because we were the underdogs. They were a much harder team. So there are differences to it. And I stand on that. I really, really do. Plus, if Arsenal do win it this year, they can't be... Even when Chelsea won it, I never did this. But, you beat this team. That's an easy team. Oh, what an easy draw you had. No one can say that about Arsenal. So I do think it holds some water. But on that, we're going to come back to some transfers in a little bit, but we're kind of on the subject anyway, so you might as well stay here. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow night, Conor? Do you think you're going to collapse or conquer?
I can't give a direct answer now, but it's just going to be on how the team walks out. We can't be having any of this 5 to 10 minute nerve patch, which we've had in literally all of our games leading up to this against Real Madrid and the first leg of PSG. We always have that first 5 minutes where we are nervous and can't settle into a game. We can't be having that. From minute one, we have to be completely on it. And I think I'll be able to tell from the whole squad's reaction, the whole 11's reaction, by the first 5 to 10 minutes if we're going to go for it or not. It's not going to be easy. You know, we really did let ourselves down and give ourselves less of an advantage by not taking something to Paris. And it's all about how the team want to react. Do they want to make history, or do they want to come out like they have done multiple times in semi-finals and like lose Newcastle, for example, and become a shell of themselves and not turn up? I think this team is capable of doing it. We're 1-0 down. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, you can go rewatch it. When I was on the terrace for the 1-0 defeat, I was pretty adamant to say that the tie's over. I think that was emotion at the time. I was very disappointed with the team, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of the team did let me down that day, especially some of our top players. But I did think about it over the couple of days, and I thought, right, it's a shit situation to be in. PSG are going to take the utmost advantage of this and try and solidify the final as quick as they can in that second leg. But if this team can beat Real Madrid in 2 legs, they can go ahead and take on PSG at their ground. We know how good PSG have been this season. I think that they are a top side. They're no easy side to walk by. A lot of fans before the game like to think, oh, we've already beaten them 2-0. Well, no, that was a rotated. Well, listen, we did beat them. It's not untrue. But we did play a heavily rotated PSG side. It wasn't their best side. So there was no way that I took them as a joke. And we shouldn't take them as a joke in the second leg either. We have to go and be our best. And we've shown that we can be great this season. There's been multiple occasions this season that we've shown we can be top and we can be competing with the best and also beat the best. This is the only time we've got to show it now this season. You can't go out there now and give out lackluster performances and not press and not make forward passes. Looking at certain players in our team, we've got to be making the forward passes, not backwards, sideways. This team is capable of going through tomorrow night. It's just up to the fact, will they show the mentality to go ahead and do it? I had a debate with a gal about the mentality against PSG. He believes the mentality was fine. It was the mentality. It wasn't a problem. I believed it was a problem against PSG. Show the right mentality. Show that you want to be champions. And I think we can go ahead and do it. But it's going to, I swear to God, I know my club. It takes me 10 minutes to realize whether we're going to go ahead and do it or not. You can just see by the reaction. I know football's different. Football's not always carbon copy. But PSG have it in their hands. I think if they score first, in my opinion, I think the tie's done. But I think we have to score first, in my opinion. But like I said, I'll repeat myself, this team's shown that we can beat the best. So let's not look like mugs. Please don't make us look like mugs, Arsenal. And let's get to the final.
What did you think specifically with mentality you thought you were lacking in that first game?
I think if you look at the Real Madrid game, for example, I mean, just look at the difference. I mean, there were players, I mean, I called out Saka multiple times. I thought on the ball, he was trying his best, but off the ball, I mean, against PSG, they're a team that love to dominate possession, hold possession. You're going to have to press and you're going to have to really, really make them sweat off to get the ball off them and win possession and also make something of it. Saka really let me down in that first leg. Off the ball, and listen, people that maybe go back and thinking, is he not fully fit? Off the ball, he was awful and he wasn't trying. And that's unlike Saka because he's normally very good off the ball. Individuals like Martin Odegaard let me down. Timber, he was awful that day. But was that to the fact that Kvaratskhelia was just too good for him? I don't know. If you look at the games, I mean, LB, if we want to talk about, the Man City, look at the game against you, the 5-1. The mentality for that was correct. We went out right. You could see from minute 1, the players didn't look right. And that, from that, me, is a mentality issue. They didn't look like their normal selves because we've shown great mentality this season in multiple occasions. And I don't know what it was, but we just didn't walk out like we were ready for a semi-final. But I like to now think that the players know the situation they're in and how important, not only does this matter to this season, but to the club as a whole, they have to come out all guns blazing. 10 out of 10s all over the pitch. And I it's all up to them. Do they want to embarrass themselves on the biggest European stage, or do they want to go ahead and make some history and get to that final and possibly take the trophy home?
I don't know if I really saw a problem with your mentality. I thought Odegaard was poor, and his mentality was a bit weird. But everybody else, I didn't really see too much wrong. I just thought you got outclassed by a better team and better players.
Have you watched a lot of Arsenal this season?
Yeah.
Do you not find that we lacked a load of intensity that day compared to how we normally play attacking football? I felt we lacked so much, and it didn't feel like I was watching the Arsenal that we've played for multiple times this season where we've been really good.
I think it's been like that loads of times this year. Slow. bit lethargic. I don't necessarily think it was anything different to what we've seen. I just think I've seen a lot of people deep in it the day after. I honestly just think they have got better players than you. But that midfield that they have better than yours. Their attack's better than yours. Their two fullbacks are better than yours. I think their weak, and I said this in the preview actually. I said Real Madrid's weak spot for me is their two centre backs. I think the Pacho is massively overhyped. Yeah, I think he's gettable. The problem is you don't have a striker. Yeah, I mean, whichever.
Well, that's another problem as well. Yeah, I mean, and that's another issue as well. Deciding to play Trossard up front, and that was on the manager. You know, we could have played Zinchenko in midfield.
Yeah, I think
make substitutions as well.
You talk about to play Marino up top then.
Yeah.
I think you would have been better off doing that because you need a physical presence up there. Yeah. Man. Them two can be got at 100%. I just think they've got better players. They've got a better manager than you. I think they've got better players than you. And in the end, they only beat you 1-0. So I don't think it was that bad of a result, like in terms of like the quality. But I don't know. Personally, I don't think you'll do it. I've gone for a 1-1 draw tomorrow night, which will obviously see you knocked out. But yeah, man, I just think they've got better players than you.
Do you know one thing I think is working in Arsenal's favour, and it's why right now my gut feeling is Arsenal are going to go through.
Oh yes, here he is. Top Arsenal fans, Harry. Here he is.
I'm putting it out there. You're being written off by a lot of people, and it's silent. There is no noise about the game, and I think that's the best thing Arsenal can do. What I thought you got wrong, and it was hindsight, you built that game up so much. Arteta's speech, the tweet, you sort of did what Madrid did for the second leg. You almost created an expectation of feelings and emotion and how fans would feel in the ground that actually in reality nobody could realize. A bit like, and I know all of us men have done this. Oh, I really like her. I can't wait to go out. You know, she said I can stay over tonight, and you build up. It's going to be the best ever, and you finish, and you lay there, and you're like, it was probably really good, but in your head you built it up to be even better than it could ever have possibly. The fantasy, the reality never quite lives up to the fantasy, and I think Arsenal did a bit of that last week. Fans were flat when the goal went in. And it really took 20 minutes in that first half for Arsenal to play football. You did miss some chances, or Donnarumma saved them as well, which didn't help.
Yeah.
But I think you're doing the right thing right now. It's almost dead. It's like you've deleted your social media accounts. Arsenal fans are very few and far between in terms of finding them, barring content creators. And I think you're doing the right thing. I think you need to almost make this as normal a game as possible. And it's hard. It's impossible to make it like, it's not like you're playing bloody Ipswich at home, but no fanfare, no craziness. I think you're going to do it. I'm actually thinking you're going to do it on penalties as well.
Oh, I can't deal with that. No, I can't.
No, I think it's. I'm going.
It'd be the best way to go through.
I'm going with 2-1 on the night to Arsenal. Arsenal to win on penalties.
I mean, that'll be the best way to go through, but it's also the most like heart pumping. Like you don't want to go into that situation. But listen, for me, it's all about, in my opinion, the first 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to be difficult to show dominance, especially at their ground. I think it may have to be a case of, we're going to have to be the one that's going to have to counter-attack constantly. We're going to be defending, then we're not going. I don't think we're going to be able to have much of the ball, but we'll wait and see with our reaction. But for me, the first 10 to 15 minutes, I think will determine how we'll react to that game. But we've got to see the Arsenal that played Madrid, and it's as simple as that. And people can say, "Oh, but this Madrid team isn't good." You know, you this and that. Oh, all these different excuses. At the end of the day, we still went ahead and beat the current European champions to put us in this position that we're in. Give us that same reaction, Arsenal, and we will, in my opinion, go through. But I say all these speeches, but for me, as soon as if we go 1-0 down, I think it could be a turning.
My problem is, bro, I don't see a world in which PSG don't score.
Well, that's the
and,
I mean,
and that means you've got to score too.
Dembele's back, so yeah.
I just don't see Arsenal necessarily scoring. My problem with Arsenal, is like.
But then again, best defensive record in the league this season. But then again, we don't have Gabriel, so that could be a factor. But it's a true stat.
Yeah, but who scores the goals for Arsenal, man?
We've still got Saka. If Martinelli has a fantastic game, we know how great he can be. If Marino's up front, I mean, I was always negative about Marino being up front, but LB, we do have assets to score goals. Like, it's not like we've been. Listen, I want a striker like no tomorrow, but we can't act like we haven't got players who haven't scored goals. We scored 5.
I just think there's far too much pressure on Saka to score the goals if he ain't scoring.
Yeah, but LB, technically, shouldn't there be? Because he's our best player. He's our best.
Yeah,
attacker.
but like outside of that, what Marino, a fucking midfielder playing as a striker, like
we haven't got many choices. You know,
no, but that's what I'm saying. That's because you had a trash transfer window in the summer.
Well, we've had injuries too, but no, it's true. We had an awful window. And we should have signed a striker. But listen, anything can happen. LB. Anything can happen.
And his mates know best, and they decided
we could score from a set piece. LB, you never know. You never know what will happen. We've got multiple places we could score goals at the end of the day.
Could I ask you a question, Con? How angry do you think rivals would be if you won the semi-final and maybe the final by scoring from set pieces?
Cry. We've got a Champions League. I don't care. Cry all you want. I mean, we've been known for being set piece FC, not recently, but we've been known for it. If we won both legs from those kind of Declan Rice free kicks and that esque, I mean, you can't even complain about a set piece with the way he scored those free kicks. Like set piece FC aside, them free kicks were immense. If we went ahead and done something like that, I mean, Terry, I don't care how you win the trophy, just win it. I couldn't care. Oh,
I know you don't care. I love stuff like that. Like for me, if I could pick a way of winning the Europa League final, we get a final whistle goes on the 95th minute, but they review something and they have to restart the game for a penalty, and then Bruno Fernandes tucks it away because it would just boil more piss. So for me, I like Bruno Fernandes scoring a goal after like we did it when we beat. It actually happened to us when we beat Brighton about 5 years ago. We got a penalty after the full-time whistle went. And I just love that. And a part of me would just laugh. Maybe it's the content creator in me watching the hate-alongs. Can you imagine the Champions League final? Arsenal have been pretty average. Corner gets swung in and Saliba knocks it in at the back post of his head. It would just...
Especially if it was like a 1-0. If it was like a 1-0, that was the one to win the game.
I love shit like that.
Of course, it'd make the win sweeter, wouldn't it? But hey, I'd take the win anyway, even if it's all own goals from the other team. I don't care. Just give me the trophy at this point, And it would be a statement as well. And I'm always one to say, every team gets injuries. It's something you've got to deal with in football. And even with Arsenal's injury record this season, yes, we've been unlucky, but we didn't prepare well in the summer for it. If you really look at it with our recruitment, but then again, Conor, how could we have known who would have been injured, so and so? But that's a debate for another day. But to win the Champions League with what we've been given for injuries this season, I mean, that's something to say as well. With no striker, that's it's something to put out there as well. But hey, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I just want us to win this football match, and then we focus on the final. It's as simple as that. And that's the main focus.
Avram Glazer here says Bournemouth slapped you. PSG will end your misery.
It wasn't the fact that Bournemouth slapped us. It was the fact that they had 2 shots on target, 2 goals. It was easily just a factor of we completely let ourselves go and defensively switched off. And they took 2 chances and scored 2 goals. It wasn't exactly a slapping, but big up Avram for the super chat.
Which final do you think will be more entertaining? Chelsea versus Betis or Tottenham versus Man United? Is
that even a question? No offense to Betis, and Chelsea, but is that even a question? Surely for me, it's Tottenham Man United.
I'm gonna put a bet on. I don't know who wants to take it. Maybe one of you two. I think if Arsenal are in the Champions League final, I'm not making this bet. But if it's Spurs Man United versus and it's PSG Barca, I think in the UK the Europa League final gets more views. I think more people would tune in to watch it in the UK. It makes it so. I feel like because every City fans watching it because they want us to lose. Every Liverpool fans watching it because they want us to lose. United are watching it, and then Arsenal want us both to lose, which won't happen. Chelsea hate Tottenham and want them to lose. It will just what I love about that final. It makes it huge for a lot of the wrong reasons, by the way. It also could be a final where there's 6, 7, 8, 9 goals. Like genuinely, it could just be madness, that final. And I really am not. I want to be there, of course. We've got to get past Bilbao. I am not. I don't like counting my chickens before they've hatched. But I am nervous to play Spurs all year. I never thought we'd both be here all year. I've said we'll never lose to them in the final. We'll never lose to them in the final. Fuck, that theory might get tested soon.
Terry, if you get to that final, you can't lose that, bro. Listen, I've grown up in an era. Listen, I wasn't born in the 90s or the 80s, isn't it? So I didn't get to see the best of Arsenal, Man United. I've got what I've been given at the moment. For me, growing up, going to school, listen, I went to a school with a lot of Tottenham fans. That probably played a part in it. I can't stand Tottenham, and just to hear from their fans that they've won a European trophy, and we've won nothing this season, you can't lose that, Terry. I'd be back in.
Mate, this man, the best team you could hope to play in a final.
That's what that's what I mean. But then imagine that. Imagine Arms on his high horse if they win that. See, I've been shit in the league, but I win a trophy in my second season. Like that, I could just see it, innit? It's written in the stars.
It's crazy. I mean, since they they've been in 3 finals since 2009, and they in those finals, it's crazy. So they've lost all 3. Their opponents have had more shots on target, more XG, scored more goals. They've actually scored no goals, Tottenham, in any of their last 3 finals that they've been in. But that's what makes me nervous, because the one thing I would say is at some point they're going to buck that trend, right? At some point they're going to buck the trend. You just don't want to be the. For instance, say they played in the League Cup final and they beat Liverpool like Newcastle did. I'd feel less pressure going into this, because someone else has taken that L that. You let Liverpool Spurs do this as an example. I just don't want to be the team that loses to them in a final. I just will never. Spurs fans will always get above their station. They always think their club is bigger than it is, better than it is, always. But they'll have something legitimate to actually gloat to, for the first time in their history, something legitimate to gloat at Manchester United about. And I just don't want it. I don't want it. I won't speak to my dad. I did say to my dad, if you beat us, the next time you'll see me is at your funeral. Because I'll be staying away.
Jesus, Terry.
I'll be staying away. Again, for all the sensitive people, that's a joke between me and my dad. He wasn't upset because he understands it's a joke. All right? Touch some grass. LB, will you do another hate along for us on Thursday?
Of course we will.
Yeah, we will be there. We will be there.
We'll be there.
We will be there. Cry more, Terry. I mean, we ain't lost yet. I'm not crying. I'm just nervous. And I'll talk more about it. I will, by the way, I'll preview it properly, viewers, when we're in it, because I don't like counting my chickens before they've hatched. I don't like talking about a final that we're not officially in yet. So come Friday, we'll be chatting a little bit more about it. I'm going to talk some transfers in a minute. I want to talk about Huijsen to Arsenal that Fabrizio has spoken about today. But I just wanted to ask quickly about Chelsea. They seem to have turned a bit of a corner the last few weeks, LB. Beating Fulham, beating Everton, smashed the champions 3-1 on Sunday. They look like they're closing in now on those Champions League spots.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give them credit at the moment, to be honest with you.
Did that hurt to say that?
Yeah, painful, to be honest with you. It was painful. Listen, they needed to win the 3 games that they've played. They have won them. Fair play to them. I think that actually, for me, I actually think the Fulham game was more impressive than beating Liverpool, considering the changes that Liverpool made and the fact they're on the beaches. But they got the job done anyway. I think it's going to come down to the last game of the season between them and Forest. And I think my prediction is probably Chelsea are going to need to go to Forest and avoid getting beat. And I think they'll do it. I think Chelsea are going to get top 5. I think Forest are going to bottle it, man. Which is wild, bro, because it was only 4 weeks ago, that this team was 3rd, chilling. Couple more wins, and they were there, and they've won 1 game in 5. I think they're going to bottle it. So, yeah, man, big up Chelsea. I think they're going to do it, man. I think they're going to. And you know what? Credit to the manager, credit to the players, because the pressure was on, big time, and they just put 3 wins on the board back to back. So you have to respect that and see what happens from here. But yeah, I'd be surprised if they bottle it. Now, who their games now? They've got a couple of tricky ones left, I think.
It's Newcastle United, then Newcastle Man United, and then Forest.
Forest on the final, their last games against Forest.
But they've got a better goal difference as well. So they could pick up a draw against Newcastle and they'd still be above Forest, even if Forest win their game with 2 games to go. Got to beat United. Avoid defeat against Forest on the final day of the season. Bang, top 4. There you go. That's done. They just need to make sure they don't get beat off Newcastle this weekend, innit? Because if Newcastle beat them, big problemos.
And they're also fighting for it as well. That'll still be a good game, you know.
Yeah, but if they should both just shake hands on a draw, man. I'll be real, innit?
Yeah.
Before, just be like, yo, what's the risk here? Yeah, and we go clashing, you know, bar for bar, if you like, and one of us ends up getting beat, we're cooked. How about we shake hands, pass the ball around the defense for 90 minutes, take a 0-0. That probably suits both teams. That means Chelsea have to beat United, which shouldn't be difficult, and then avoid defeat against Forest. Final day of the season, they both get top 4.
But then taking a draw, won't that also put it in Forest's hands if they win this weekend? Because that means they'll be on the same points if they win this weekend.
If Forest win, if Forest win, then they go level on points.
No, Forest are only 2 points behind them, so they would go if they. No, sorry, you're right because they get a point each. Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm thick. Sorry, you're right. You're correct. Sorry.
And they're playing Leicester as well. So
but what I'm saying is, if Chelsea and Newcastle draw, Forest win, they go level on points, but Chelsea have the better goal difference. So do Newcastle. Chelsea then beat United, which they should be doing. All they then have to do, Chelsea, is go to Forest on the last day of the season, just not get beat, and then they got top 4.
But that almost I want it to go final day of the season where wouldn't it be amazing? City are probably they've got Southampton next, they're gonna be fine. Wouldn't it be amazing though if any one of like five teams could finish in that? Sorry, it would be 1, 2, 3. Any one of 4 teams could fit into those 2 positions. That would be an amazing final day of the season. At least it gives us something to watch and get a bit excited about because the rest of it's been shit.
Yeah,
it's been awful.
League's done.
Awful. So boring season.
Don't worry, Liverpool fans. We're not saying anything takes away from your title win. Don't start crying in the comments, man. You still won the title. You're the legitimate champions and that.
LB, do you believe the statement about how? I mean, it might just be a lot of salty people. I think if you win a league, you win a league, and no matter the situation, whether it's the COVID era where people say, "Oh, it don't count the COVID era." Do you believe the statements of people coming out saying this is the most unmemorable league title win, like no one cares about it? Do you believe that kind of statement from rival fans?
I think it's one of the most, probably one of the most. Yeah, I mean, but again, that shouldn't take anything away from Liverpool fans. Yeah, just enjoy your title. But if you're that this is no one's going to remember this, isn't it? Bro, like that sounds bad, man.
Yeah, that's Liverpool fans coming in now.
No, but like it's not a Liverpool thing, yeah. It's not meant to be against Liverpool. I'm talking about the actual title race, innit? Like no one's going to remember this season.
Yeah. There wasn't much
because
fight.
Nothing's happened, bro. It's been a dead year. We've had no title race, but it ain't against Liverpool. But then every time you say something like that, Liverpool fans start crying about it.
Liverpool. It's interesting, this, right? You premise it and say it's not Liverpool. Liverpool deserve champions, loads of points. They've been brilliant.
Agreed.
It's been crap because all the other big teams, by their own standards, have been shocking.
It's not Liverpool's fault. It's everybody else's fault.
It's everybody's fault.
There you go.
Correct. Yeah.
But there is an insecurity in a percentage of Liverpool fans that get really angry. And it's because the problem with, and it's not all Liverpool fans. So let me repeat, if you're not feeling this way, I'm not talking about you. We agree. There are some that no amount of praise you can give is ever enough. I literally have Liverpool fans DM me abuse. Are we scary now? It's like, no, I said this season you were the best team in the world. Why didn't you say we were scary? Because best team in the world is better than being a team that I said might become title contenders. Like, and that was worrying me. It's like, no, you've got to give us the type of praise that might go viral, or you've got to say. I mean, Jamie Carragher last night, I agreed with what he said, that people shouldn't tell Liverpool fans how they should feel about Trent. They can have their own opinion on it, but don't tell Liverpool fans how to feel. Agree. But when he said, you never see title-winning celebrations like you did the other night, we're different. I've seen people celebrate trophies like that are not Liverpool. It's like everything's always with a certain percentage. It is a very noisy minority, to be fair. It's just, if you don't say it's the best season ever, the best team ever, the best left back ever, the best manager ever, the most passionate fans ever, the loudest singing fans ever, the best anthem for a club ever. If you don't say that their hot dogs are the best hot dogs ever, the grass is the greenest ever, some get very upset, and I don't quite understand where it comes from. I don't get where that insecurity comes from for such a successful and brilliant football club. And I will end it again by saying this, okay? Well, you get comments like this, Terry salting hard. It's not the vast majority of Liverpool fans. It is a very noisy minority that do it. But I don't understand it. You know, no one is saying you were crap. What we are saying is it's been a boring Premier League season. And do you know what I think the proof in the pudding is? Listen out for it now. I'm saying it with Sky every time they talk. They keep saying, "Oh, what a great season it's been, ladies and gentlemen! Wow, it's going to be an action-packed end of the season." There's no doubt they're trying it so much when they know in reality that you shouldn't need to tell us it's been amazing. I bet the viewing figures are so low compared to this time last year.
Oh, because it went to the last day of the season. Yeah, of course,
definitely.
Yeah. And it was going. It was going on for the whole season. You know, that title race.
Equally, Liverpool fans should be happy about this. Next season I want Man United to win the league. I want it to be boring because that means we've blown you all away for one reason or another, and we won it at a canter. For you, that's better. I went through this as well in 2013. Went, shit season, and I got annoyed. That weren't. I loved it. We were brilliant. Then I'm older now. I reflect. No, it was a shit season because we were just so much better than everybody else. That's how I feel when I used to watch. That's how I feel when I watch Pep's teams at their peak. I know they're brilliant, but I think the games are boring because they're so dominant. There isn't enough jeopardy in it. It's not a dig at you, but it's like this season's been shit because it's been a one-horse race. That's because Liverpool have been really good, but unfortunately, that's not seen as a compliment. It's seen as you hate my football club. It's not really that, but sorry, Liverpool fans. It's been brilliant. How is Trent a rat yet Gerrard put in a transfer request? Oh.
Well, because ultimately Gerrard decided not to leave Liverpool, didn't it?
Yeah, there is a difference.
But I don't think Trent's a rat. I don't think he's done anything
I don't
wrong.
think he is either.
I don't think he's he signed a contract. When he signed a contract, Liverpool knew when that contract was going to end. Yeah, well, you'd like to think they did. Yeah, because they signed a contract. So they knew at the end of that contract, guess what? He's leaving on a free. He's not signed a contract. They would have offered him a contract 2 years ago. So they could have forced him out the door 2 years ago. They didn't. Could have forced him out the door last year. They didn't. He leaves on a free. I don't know why they complaining, man.
This whole rat talk, honestly, man. This whole rat talk wouldn't even be a thing if he went for money. If he went for money, this whole, he's not a Liverpool player, like all this kind of stuff. He's not real Liverpool. It's like, so if you sold him for what, 90 plus million, would you be calling him a rat then? Because you're getting money back for it? I think listen, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I don't know in it. Maybe it's more personal than that. Maybe it's more personal for Scousers. I don't know. But I think, in my opinion, if he went for money, this whole thing wouldn't be a problem. I think it's for the fact that he's a great player. He's a highly market valued player, of course. And the fact that they've lost out on a big deal for him and big money, I think it's now come out that he's a rat. You know, why shouldn't a player be allowed to go play for one of the best teams? I mean, he is already currently playing for one of the best teams in the world, but why shouldn't he be allowed to go to another team that is also massive and one of the players? I think majority of players' dreams as kids when they're wanting to become a footballer. Why shouldn't he be allowed to go play for that club? You know, I think it's all way too forced. You'll get a right back at another one. Like,
I look at it this way. I said it yesterday. My personal feeling is I felt this way for about 10 years now in football. I don't do this loyalty thing personally because all of our clubs fuck off bare local kids who have been at the club anywhere between 5 to 10 to 15 years every single season. Not good enough. You can't make our first team better. Bye. No one cares about loyalty if it doesn't improve your football club. No one cares about the loyalty. Newcastle fans are rife for this. Don't you dare talk about Isak. Yeah, all I keep seeing is them talk about Mbomo. It's the Villa fans during the January window. Don't you speak about our Watkins? Oh, they bought fucking 4 players. They were chatting about them all the whole time. Football fans do, but I understand why. I'm not saying they shouldn't think and feel that way. I'm just stating that I can't do it anymore the older I've got. I don't want my club to be overly loyal to players. When they're no longer needed, move them on quickly. If I believe that, though, I just feel when regulating my feelings, it will also work the other way. There's going to come a time where a player, for one reason or another, wants to move on and do something different. And I'm kind of at peace with it. But I do understand where Liverpool fans are coming from with the rhetoric they're pushing, which is he basically strung us along. And I think that's where you got to wait for the proof in the pudding to come out. If he told them, I'm never signing a new deal 2 years ago, no matter what you offer me, I won't accept it, then it's all on Liverpool for keeping him.
But he did reject that deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going about, I saw AGT say this on DR Sport. I think he said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, it was, he strung us along. He never really said no. He just kept on stringing us along.
No, he did say no. He did say no. Because when Liverpool offered him a contract 2 years ago, guess what? He said no.
Well, this is why listen, I was my belief. Liverpool fans are now saying something different. If he strung them along, then I get the anger. If he has outright said no 2 years ago, I do think the majority of your frustration should go towards FSG and the people running the club, because they could have sold him for that £100 million you wanted 2 to 3 years ago. So, but I get their anger. I'm not going to tell them they shouldn't be angry. Oh, hang on. Wow, look at this. How do you pronounce that word? Is that Hilal? Have offered Bruno Fernandes a 3-year contract worth in excess of £65 million per year. To put that into football talk, that is just to get the numbers exactly right. Divide that by 52 weekly. That is a salary of £1.25 million per week.
If you want to be known as if you want to be known as the money taker and you want to do that, then go for it, man. But I think that is just. I don't listen. I get it. You know, some players want to go for that. Like, it's a big wage packet. You know, you've made a lot of money anyway as in your career, but do you want to enjoy playing football? Like, that's what you're doing every single week.
He might enjoy playing football, bro. You don't know that, innit?
Come on, LB. Like, you can't be saying. So you reckon that he'll enjoy football more in Saudi than in the Premier League?
He just wants him out of the Premier League. That's all this is.
Bro, Mahrez is playing with Ivan Toney, a solid striker that you guys was linked to.
One player. He just
won the Asian Champions
League. I don't think that's he plays for Al Ahly. He'd be playing with Mitrovic and Milinkovic Savic. Those kind of players.
It might be, actually. Bro, these guys, yeah, I think people need to start realising, man, the Saudi League now, yeah, they're starting to get some ballers over there. You're getting paid dough, hot country, nice gaff. I say go get it. He's 31 in the summer, mate. It's not like he's at like 24, like Gabri Vega, you know, we're going from Celta Vigo when he was 20 or something like that. This guy's coming to the end of his career, and he's got the opportunity to secure generational wealth. I'd say he's an idiot if he doesn't go.
Yeah, I say stay and win the Premier League next season, mate, with United. Stay and win the Prem. Stay and win the Prem with us.
You never know. You might win the UEL and you might say that's my one last dance, and then maybe he does go to Saudi, or maybe he does win the Premier League next season, Terry. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the latter will happen. I'm sure the comment section are going to get triggered by clearly a joke, but remember, touch grass or consensually touch a boob, one of the two things. I've seen you guys today linked to Dean Huijsen again. This time, Fabrizio in Give Me Sport has spoken about the fact you've reached out to his representation. You're having conversations. He's a player that you guys like the look of and want to speak about. You know, speak towards signing. What do you make of that? Obviously, not your number one target. You're definitely focusing more on a striker. But he seems to be a player that Liverpool and other clubs are looking at. But you are credibly in for him now. What do you make of that?
Go for him. I mean, listen, we do have priorities. I'd want the attackers done first. But definitely, if we had the option to go for him this summer, I would 100% take him. We're looking to get rid of the likes of Kivior in the summer. It's been linked that he's leaving. We're going to be getting rid of some defenders. Tierney's leaving as well. No, it's obviously a left back, but we are getting rid of some players, possibly Zinchenko as well. So we're going to need reinforcements in the back line. And listen, a lot of clubs are in for him, like you said, Terry. A lot of big clubs. I say take the chance while you can. If he wants to come to Arsenal, then let it be. You never know. We may lose Saliba. Hopefully not this summer. I like to think it won't be this summer, but you never know. But we could lose him next summer. Does that give time for Huijsen to give time? Does it give him time to progress as a player and get better? Possibly then to become a player to start for us in a couple of seasons? Yeah, why not? I'd take the punt. I think he's a talented youngster, and I think he's got. I mean, look, I think a lot of Arsenal fans have become a bit more of a fan of him since he scored against us. But no, he's had a great season for Bournemouth. And take the chance while you can, because there'll be a lot of other big teams going for him. And listen, it's not priority.
Bench, yeah?
Sorry?
He'll be on the bench.
Well, he's going to have to be, isn't he, really?
So you're telling me, yeah, that Bruno Fernandes, right, and let me land, can't, at the age of 31 years old, can't go to Saudi Arabia and earn £75 million a year tax-free. But Huijsen, who's in a pinnacle part of his career, 22 years, and really important part of his career where he needs to be playing week in, week out, should be going Arsenal to sit on the bench. Contradiction, my friend.
But Huijsen isn't gonna hold on a minute. This is two completely different scenarios because Huijsen's still going to be in the Premier League playing in the league.
We're not playing. He's going to be on a bench.
He's not going to be on the bench. He's not going to be sitting on the bench with no minutes all season. LB, he will be
playing week in, week out to develop properly.
Okay, so if he goes to Liverpool, for example, so what? He's starting for Liverpool, is he? Over Van Dijk and Konate. Oh, but you shouldn't go to Liverpool.
I'm not saying. Hang on a minute. I never said go to Liverpool.
But no, but that's one of the teams he's linked to.
Yeah, but if I was,
he should stay at Bournemouth. He should stay at Bournemouth. He shouldn't go to a bigger club if he doesn't start, unless it's maybe somewhere like Tottenham. Even then, I don't know if he'd start over Van de Ven or Romero. Maybe he would. I don't know.
I'd be interested in a Chelsea move.
Chelsea makes sense. He'd start at Chelsea.
I'd be interested if Bayern Munich, what has come in for him, they could do the centre half as well. I think there are a lot of clubs out there, big clubs that could take him and actually start him week in, week out. You're advocating that he sits on the bench. But you just said 2 minutes ago that Bruno should
sit on the bench. If we get injuries in the back, listen, I shat myself when Gabriel got injured, right? And big up to Kivior, by the way, because I was one of his biggest critiques. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a long one. Kivior on the back line, we've seen how terrible he can be, but he stepped up. If we've seen what we're like with injuries, LB, if we get an injury, that is the kind of player I would want as a backup in that scenario. And he's got so many more years to improve and grow. If Saliba does leave, say, the summer after next, he could be a starter for that season. I don't think there's any reason to say why he should sit on the bench for the first season. Look at William Saliba, what he had to go through before he became a regular starter at Arsenal. Yeah, and now he's one of the best centre-backs in the world.
Yeah, but hang on a minute, right? This is a guy who is being linked with all the top teams. He's playing week in, week out for Bournemouth, playing well. Why would he join Arsenal to sit on the bench?
He doesn't have to join Arsenal to sit on the bench, but it could be an option. And it could lead him to a point where he could actually be starting for Arsenal. But I'm looking at it in a sense, LB, that he wouldn't be just rotting on the bench all season. He'd be an option for us 100%.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense. He's 19. He's got so many more years to play.
He could go Newcastle. That's a shout as well.
He could. Listen, he could, right? I look at it this way. If he goes to Arsenal, I think it's because Arsenal will resign to the fact that in a year or so, Saliba's going to go. I think that's more. And again, that would be brilliant planning by Arsenal to go and get one of the best young centre-backs in the world, give him a 100%. Season or so of being bled into them. I mean, Kivior has played 30 games last season, 26 games so far this season. That will go should go around the 30 mark. 30 games next season for Huijsen as an example would be pretty good, even at sort of 19, 20 years of age. Embed him into the team, getting used to what he's doing. I know that he walked straight into the Newcastle team. If he goes Real Madrid, did he start straight away? I don't know enough about their centre-backs off the top of my head, so I'm not going to make an assumption there. But a lot of the big clubs that are looking at him, Liverpool are interested. Is he better than Konate or Van Dijk right now? He may not start over one of those two straight away.
Yeah,
there's a few teams.
That's what I mean, Terry. Straight away, there might be a situation where he ends up playing regularly for one of these teams. I don't think it's a wrong thing to say for a 19-year-old that he may be sitting on the bench for the start of his tenure. But there's nothing wrong with that. LB, I think you're taking it a bit too far there.
No, I'm not taking it too far. He's playing.
Arsenal hate is real. Arsenal hate is real, bro.
No, it's not. It's not. It's nothing to do with Arsenal. It's to do with any club where if he goes to a club and sits on the bench, I think he's an idiot. He's playing week in, week out. Yeah. Why would he go to a club to hold bench?
Because he'll be playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world.
But he won't be playing. He'll be on the bench.
But like Terry's made a good point, and it is true. There's been times where players like Kivior has had 20 to 30 games in a season. He's young, LB. He's not like
I just don't think he's.
It's not like it's the 25 to 30, like 25 to prime centre back that we're letting just sit on the bench. I think there's reasoning for why he should be, but you never know. He may come into Arsenal's team and steal a spot. You don't know what can happen. I think, as an Arsenal perspective, away from the whole, might be sitting on the bench. As an Arsenal perspective, young prospect, one of the top defensive prospects in Europe right now. Get him while you can, especially if Saliba's going to be out the door in the next couple of years. It just makes sense. But focus on the striker first, please. That's priority.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think people will. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We're going to be back live tonight after the Champions League semi-final second leg. Inter versus Barca. Who do you think's going through tonight, gents? Who's
I'm
been in
going
the game?
Barca just. Tough call, man, but I'm going Barca.
I really want this to be an 120-minute game. I just want it to it'd be an absolute classic if this went all the way to extra time, right? Yeah, go on, Barca. Go on. I'll go do it, Barca.
I've gone 3-2 Barca, but I don't know.
Oh.
I think Lewandowski's back as well, isn't it?
Yes, I think he is. I saw him in, I think I saw
sure
him in
Lewandowski's
training.
back in this
Yeah.
game.
So I'll go for a. Oh fuck it! I'll go for a 2-2 and then go to penalties because that would just be fantastic. That'd be a great two set of fixtures. I'll go 2-2 and then Barca to go through on penalties. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going. I think we're going to see the best teenager Europe has ever produced.
Toby
Put on
Cook's
another mask. I got cooked for that the other. I did a video on Insta. It's gone mad. It's like fucking 1.6 million views. People saying to me, "But so and so did this at 18. How can you say that he's a better teenager?" I'm like, yeah, the man's been doing this since he was 16. It's like nothing we have seen in Europe before. The only player that I think. Mbappe's there or thereabouts. There's shouts for Rooney, but Rooney didn't achieve what he did. Pele, I think, at 17 at the World Cup. But I was very specific in what I said on the mainstream that in terms of European produced player, best teenager I've ever seen at this age anyway. Like we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think he's going to kill it tonight. I think we're going to see another Yamal masterclass, and I bet he scores another screamer as well. The kid is ridiculous. And yeah, R9. I just said that Europe has produced. Come on, we can't keep twisting the words here. That Europe has produced. And by the way, at 16, R9 was not dominating an international tournament and being pretty much the best player at it. Doesn't mean R9's bad. I'm just saying it's unprecedented for a European player to do what this man has done. Mbappe at 18 was killing it. There's no doubt. You're talking 2 years difference. 2 years is a long time. 16? Now he's 17. He's still a child. A child might win the fucking Ballon d'Or this year. Deep it. A child. Legally a child. There's things this man can't do.
He ain't a child. He's something else. He's not human. I'll tell you that. There's something not right. And
Superman's son. Yeah, one of them ones.
He's crazy. If he carries this on for the next how many years? Oh my god, we've got a real bit of history here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely. Listen, Pete, this is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mo's channel, so go and support my brother over there. LB and Conor, thank you both for coming on. Always a pleasure to sit here on Tuesdays and speak football. We're back later, as I say, after that game. So listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.